G'day team, thanks for joining us here for another episode of the Grey Man Podcast. My name's Harley Fox. On today's episode I sit down with Gary Wilson. Gary's an Army veteran and he's now working as an MC and a marriage celebrant, and he's also delved into the world of public speaking with his focus on masculinity. So today's episode is very heavy on masculinity and what that means in the modern world. Great chat with Gary today. I hope you guys enjoy it. Once again, I won't harp on about it, but just quickly hit that subscribe button, helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here, guys. Enjoy the show. The Grey Man Podcast is a veteran-run platform dedicated to sharing authentic experiences from current and former service members. These stories are shared to foster connection, understanding, and support within the veteran community. Episodes may contain raw, emotionally charged content that some listeners may find distressing. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the Grey Man Podcast, its host, or affiliated partners. The Grey Man Podcast assumes no liability for any statements, opinions, or representations made by guests during interviews or discussions. Cool, man. Welcome.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, you got quite a bit going on in your life with your public speaking stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, that's kind of, that started in such a weird way, bro. Like when I was medically discharged from Army, and I had no fucking idea what I was going to do next. As far as I was concerned, I was a lifer. So I came in, did some time, got out for a bit, and then went back in, and that was it for me, right?
Yeah.
Then got some injuries that found out, and then I just needed to find the best way forward for me. So I became a marriage celebrant. Yeah, gets transferable skills from Cav to the world, right? Like I can speak in front of people, and I don't mind speaking about myself and getting in front of people and stuff.
MCing,
So. Natural progression there, I wasn't particularly religious, so I just went down the marriage celebrant path. Love as well, Love seeing people in love, mate. so I thought, and then, I've done a million things since I got out, trying to find my place again. I don't think I've ever found, to this point, I never found somewhere where I properly fit again.
Yeah, still haven't, or you?
No, I think I have now. Yeah. But like when I left the Army, like I said, I was just so defined by that. That's who I felt I was born to be, right? I lost that, and then I tried to fill that hole with a million things. But like, dude, I've done so much work since, like therapy and whatever. Discovered it was my mates. It was the boys.
You missed the mates?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I did all the stupidest thing possibly could. So I up and moved myself away into the bush on a farm, away from everything I knew and loved, man,
Yeah.
And didn't realise why I was going in such a bad direction.
Why am I getting sad?
Right. And lost connection with and then COVID, of course, which means all lines of communication apart from the phone or whatever was cut off.
Yeah.
So that sort of led me to a path of 100 different jobs, and landed now as still a celebrant MC, and moving now to work in the keynote speaking space.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's a big thing, the isolation stuff. I find a lot of my mates these days, it's happening because they get married and have kids. So they isolate themselves for their friends because they feel that commitment to the family, right? I can't leave my wife at home with the kids by herself and that sort of thing. So they just stay home.
Yeah. And I mean, like I think that's valid. Like that's a valid thought for a man to have, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Through this journey, I've really started to look into masculinity, what modern masculinity looks like, because I think that's lost. And I'm not talking about going back to 1950s where Masculinity
To
was
who knows?
very exactly, mate. Like I'm not talking exactly, not get back in the kitchen and tie yourself to the oven. I'm talking about like responsibility, and I think what that shows in your mates is that they are really good men, but don't know how to express it to the world. They sit there and go, well, my responsibility is to my family first and foremost, and I have to sacrifice myself for that. And to a degree, I think that's important. Like you've got to have that sacrifice in you to be a good man and to show really good masculine traits. But at the same time, if you're not well, you can't look after yourself, right?
Yeah.
And it's always your mental health that'll go first.
Yeah, you got to find the balance.
Yeah, I think so.
All those things that people try and come up with, the little fads, Saturdays are for the boys and all those sorts of things. But there's validity behind them, right? Like,
sure.
You need to make time. And, like, it's a struggle for me. Like, I seem to be the perpetually single dude, so I'm always the host of boys' nights and poker nights and all that sort of stuff. But, like, it's even a struggle to get dudes out once every 6 months, like once every year to get a boys' night out of them. It's like that's like I don't think that it would cause too much friction at home, but they don't even want to ask. They feel bad. It's like, mate, it's not that much to ask. I'm sure she'd be fine with it. And then to the point where, like you said, and then the mental health starts to creep in, and then it's like you need to go see your mates, and it becomes the wife
driving it.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you got a wife doing that, mate, you got a good wife.
Yeah, for sure.
She's starting to see that you need some boy time and driving you towards it. And she's a good woman.
Yeah, I think one of my best mates, he had his cousin committed suicide, and then he started going on that bandwagon of like, if you need to chat, I'm here, boys, and sort of reaching out to us to offer because he didn't want to see it happen to anyone else, right?
Sure.
And that sort of was a turning point of him, like making sure that those boys' night happened, and his wife starting to appreciate why.
Yeah. But it took me years. It took me years to figure it out because I talked to him on the phone, whatever. Right, but as blokes, you do that sporadically at best.
Yeah, for sure.
Birthdays, that sort of shit, right? Especially if you're living in the state, right? So it took me years. And like therapy and EMDR to figure out that was the part of my life that I was so missing. And sometimes you see people, like I saw some media clips around this, where like a man was expressing how important his mates were to him and how much he looked forward and was excited to talk about like his trip away with the lads and how they go and get on the train and just talk shit and get on the piss and just have a good time, right? And this woman was laughing at him because of how excited he was about it. And but I think that's just, I don't think she meant to be an arsehole about that. I think it was just ignorance of how important that is, how important men are for other men. And then, by extension, how important men are for boys and bringing them up in the world. I've really made this kind of my mission now, and where I'm taking the keynote stuff is to try and talk about masculinity as it exists, taking our place as important, worthwhile beings in the world again, alongside women that have taken their rightful place alongside men in running the world, right? And I know there's still work to do in that space.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be to the detriment of men just because we may have had it better in the past, perhaps, depending on what side of the fence you talk about, right? Or which side of the fence you sit on. Doesn't mean that boys now should be doing worse.
Yeah.
In a lot of stats, they are.
Overswinging it, right?
Yeah. So, and that's really where I'm focused and what I'm looking at now is to try and tell boys that you're not evil just because you're a boy, right? You've got a lot to offer the world, and but we've got to channel all those things that happen naturally inside you. We've got to channel them,
What about all these hated dudes that are sort of bringing that to light, the toxic masculinity, like Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate and all that are
See,
sort
Tate, I think sends a bad message. I think he's just like misogynistic. He is a misogynist, you know, in the way he puts himself out to the world. Jordan Peterson, I don't have a great deal of problem with the stuff he says. I think a lot of what he talks about is looking after yourself first, making sure yourself is in order, and then you know, then you take responsibility for those around you, and when you take responsibility for things, good things happen. So I don't like. I actually think I see Jordan Peterson. You know, he speaks about his wife so fondly, so often, and his children,
and his daughters. Yeah.
You know, and he'll come out and he'll talk about the importance of speaking with your wife about your relationship and taking responsibility for the things that you might have said or done wrong. And I think that's a really important part of masculinity is that responsibility and accountability piece.
Yeah.
And that took me a long time to learn as well. I was not perfect at that, man. Like I was, you know, I was always trying to look for reasons that it wasn't my fault.
That's human nature.
Yeah, like it is. But I think he sends a good message. But they're like the likes of Tate, like I think he tries to put himself across as somebody who, you know, we protect women and because we honour them. But mate, if you're pimping chicks out on the internet, right, and you're having kids with however many women in the same, like, he's sending a message to boys that that misogyny is what we should aim for, and it just cannot work anymore, right? Like it can't work in the world we live in,
no.
You know, because like women are amazing, mate, what they can do, right? But so are men, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If we live in
we
our
both have our equal responsibility and parts in the world.
Sure.
And I think, yeah, you're right. And he does come across as a piece of shit, which makes him hard to listen to.
Yeah.
He does make some really good points, though, of, you know, there's roles in the world that men can do things that women can't do, women can do things that men can't do, or we're better at it naturally.
Yep.
And to say that, nah, don't need women or nah, don't need men, it's ridiculous.
So how offensive is it? How offensive is it for and you know, new wave feminists that say they're the only ones, but that men are completely
null and
obsolete.
void. Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
So when Peterson runs the statistics of the jobs, right? It's like 98% of men are construction workers. 98% of construction workers are men. Garbage men, this. All these vital jobs in the world.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't there more of an equal?
Bricklayers was his favourite one, I think.
Bricklayers,
yeah. Do we want equal representation there? I saw him do Q&A program on the ABC. Have you seen that one?
I've never watched it.
So he when he was in Australia, he did that program. And it's basically just a panel show with a host that the crowd asked questions of them and stuff. And he made that very point, the bricklayer. If there's do we want equal representation across all jobs? Because 98% bricklayers are men. Should we have equal representation there as well as in the C-suite? And I think there was a lady politician there who made the point that that's not representative democracy, right? But it kind of is representative democracy. Like 50% of bricklayers are women. There's going to be a more female approach to bricklaying, if that can be a thing, right? So, but it's the same. Like I don't want to misrepresent myself here. I believe strongly that women are vital in the running of the modern world. They're vital. And they've taken a long time and they've fought for their place to be where they are now, and that's wonderful. But I feel like it's been at the expense of men in some ways. And I'm not saying men are victims in this. I'm just saying that, like we said before, it's sort of we've overswung, and now men don't really know where to aim. So we're told that chivalry's dead and women are cranky about that. But then chivalrous behaviours are seen as toxic, you know. And I think that's confusing. And it's confusing for men of our generation trying to teach boys of the next.
Mm.
So where do you aim, mate?
You don't throw your coat over the mud puddle anymore and
Yeah, exactly.
open the doors.
You can open the doors.
Got central locking now.
Yeah, you can open your own doors. And then Miley Cyrus ruined it with that "I can buy myself flowers" song, right? And I've tried to think about this in a really different way. So instead of masculinity being based on behaviours, so instead of it being putting the coat on the ground or going out and working all day so your wife can stay home with the kids, or remaining completely stoic, I've tried to reshape that in how I think about it. And I've been writing quite a bit about this as well, hopefully toward a book. And just trying to figure out how we can best put these masculine ideas into the moral world and from now. And I've kind of landed on, instead of it being based around behaviours or things we do, it's around principles and how we think about masculinity, right? So things like responsibility, self-control and discipline, being strong and capable, being able to take responsibility not just for you, but you primarily, and then by extension your family, and then by more extension your community when you have the capacity. And like that's not exhaustive. It's not an exhaustive list. But if we think of it from a principled approach, it can be applied so many different ways. So if you have a wife who's worked really hard in her career and she's got herself to a point where, you know, a 3-year gap is going to hurt you as a family. It's not an unmasculine thing to do to say, well, if you want to work, then I'll sacrifice my time at my work to look after kids. That's not an unmasculine thing to do.
No.
Because you're taking responsibility. You know, you're humble. Humility is another great tenet of masculinity. And I think it's all about just dropping egos. And for men, that's hard, right? Men of our generation, where it's kind of, we were raised different to what we're expected to raise the next generation as.
Yeah.
And things that were important to our dads or our grandfathers now have to shift. So I think if we think about it differently, that looking after your family isn't you needing to live a set of behaviours. I think that's a really good start, at least in the conversation, about how we bring boys back to being able to thrive.
You brought up your own childhood. What was your childhood like? Did you
Mate, I
have
had a fabulous childhood.
strong male role model?
Lots of them, yeah. So I had my dad. My dad's a good man. And when you say good man, I think it's important to define what that is, right? Because, you know, there's murderers in prison that someone would call them a good bloke, right? So
A good killer.
yeah, he was a, you know,
He sharpens his knives.
Yeah, he's disciplined. Right? Yeah. So my dad
Took you to your footy games.
Yeah, he was so involved. My sister and I, he was just so involved and wanted to be there for all of our stuff. He tried to teach the best lessons he knew how. And I think intention's just as important with all of this. If you intend to do good and you know, if you know something's going to hurt someone, you don't do it, that makes you just as good, right? But he was... he cared very much for us, and he cared very much for. He still does. He cares, you know, I'm talking about it in past tense, but he's still with us. So,
What did he do?
he was a crane operator when I was youngest. I moved into sort of more management roles in the power line industry after that. And my grandfather was a batcher in a concrete plant and truck driver for most of his life. And he took a lot of responsibility for me as a boy when I was little. Not so much the girls in the family, but certainly the boys. He would want to take them camping and beach fishing, and that was kind of his life, right? And on the other side, on Mum's side, her dad passed away when I was about 10, so I didn't get an opportunity to really have him. But by extension, I had another family member who was actually my grandfather's cousin, and his family, his wife and family. And kind of, my mum spent a lot of time with them when she was a kid. And they just took us on. So we just became part of the grandkids.
Yeah.
My sister and I. They owned a farm, a place called the Bunny Mountains. I don't know if you've been there before. So it's just west of here, a couple of hours west. And so every school holidays, we'd be there the whole school holidays.
Yeah,
and teaching about horses and farming and cattle. And I look back on my childhood, and people a lot of times say, "Oh, we didn't have a lot," and like in material things, that's probably true for me too. But hell, mate, I had every opportunity and experience I could have hoped for as a boy, and my parents provided that, the opportunities, and that allowed me to make informed decisions on where I took my life. I fucked that up a few times, but
that's the other pendulum, right? With trying to spend time with your kids. Like what you're saying is that you might not have had a lot, but you had food on the table, you had clothes on your back, you had a roof over your head.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, those are the only things that matter. You got the love of your family and all those things covered, the necessities of life. Then everything else is adventure. Then you can do whatever you want. Whereas we're now working hard because we don't want our kids to be without. So we spend all our time at work.
Yep.
We're not present anymore. The kids are after school care, before school care, holiday, vacation care.
Yep. Spending
less and less time with them, so they're not creating that same bond and relationship. A lot of that way you're talking.
And mate, you're spot on, because you think about your kids. I know mine. I've got an 8-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. My daughter is probably the sweetest, most gentle, caring, funny. She's, obviously my apple of daddy's eye, right? like everyone's daughter is, I suppose. But she is polar opposites to my son, who is, adventurous and, I found him on the roof, mate. He's got so much life to live, that boy. Broke his arm last week, falling off play equipment, and handled it really well. He was brave, right? But they will sit there and draw stick figures on a piece of paper with me. They would choose doing that over Movie World.
Oh, really?
And it's that spending time focused on them. And fatherhood's, I've been trying to figure that out too. Like what makes, if you could describe and boil down and bottle up what the perfect father is, what is it? And you put that question to people and they look after them, make sure they're safe, make sure they're fed, make sure they're clothed, make sure they're housed. There's got to be more to it than that.
Present.
Emotionally available.
Yeah.
Right. And people talk about that. Emotional availability now, and it's kind of some people make jokes about, men need to be emotionally available, and that makes them a simp or whatever. But it's not. But it's being able to understand what your kids are feeling and not hurt them, right?
Sorry, I thought of that. Is that thing is all girls want a man that's sensitive and cries until they see you cry and they're out the door.
And then they don't want you anymore. And I reckon there's some truth to that too, mate. Like, because at the end of the day, I do feel like women want someone who's going to, when the chips are down, you're going to be able to look after them, mate.
Yeah.
And like, unfortunately, I've had to do a lot of research in this space through lived experience, because there was so many years where I just couldn't hold a relationship.
Mm.
Like, I was married to the army in my 20s.
I'll have to get a coaching session off you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope I've figured it out. But I was married to the army in my 20s, and then I was medically discharged straight into fatherhood. So I was discharged on the 22nd of February. My daughter was born on the 7th of March. So I had 10 days or something.
Mm.
I've been a civilian before I was a father. And that transition was really tough, like trying to be a good partner and a brand new father.
While dealing with the loss of identity.
And didn't even know I was dealing with that, right? I'm blessed that I have an incredible relationship with my daughter's mother now. She's getting married this year to this wonderful bloke, like this excellent dude who cares for my daughter just as much as we do,
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, mate. And I'm so happy for her, and I'm so happy for them, right? But we have this wonderful co-parenting relationship, and I've never really spoken to her about the reasons why we were able to maintain that. But I think I can understand. I think I know. And I think it was always about Audrey. Audrey's my daughter.
Mm.
It was always about Audrey. Every decision we make is ultimately what's best for her.
Mm.
And if we need to sacrifice a little bit, what's for the greater good? Also, I never stopped taking responsibility for her, for my daughter's mother. I always made sure she had somewhere to live. Always made sure she had a pantry full of food. Because I still see her as part of my family.
Mm.
Now, my son's mother, we had a more challenging relationship. We couldn't find that middle ground. I tried to follow the same pattern when we separated. Tried to look after her and make sure she had everything she needed, but what I could provide her as her ex-partner wasn't enough. She needed closer family and all those sorts of things. So we had a bit more of a challenging relationship. It's repairing over time, and I'm grateful for that too. But like I said, when we talk about the masculinity piece and how men and women can come back together and not bump into each other anymore, right? When we talk about that, I believe I was able to foster that, one, because she's a good human and she never let her emotional emotions impact the relationship with our daughter between either of us. But secondly, from a man's perspective, it's so easy for us to leave a relationship and go, stand the fuck over there, I'm done with you. And you're just going to try and take me for everything I've got. Mm-hmm. Right. And that happens a lot, man. No doubt.
I've seen broken fathers.
Jared Purcell, mate, like some of the stories that come out of that podcast are absolutely heartbreaking.
No,
are they?
hard to watch.
Oh, and those blokes that get on there and just can't see their kids, and like him himself, right? Like, I take my hat off to him, mate. He's doing God's work at the moment in a field where it's so easy to probably be heavily criticised and threatened. I take my hat off to him.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess being able to look past all of that, and anything that didn't work in a relationship. And I think most men, well, I won't say most, but a lot of men can do that. You go, I'm aiming at having a workable relationship with my kids and you, right? And it's just, they might offer these things up and they're rejected. But that dogged determination to provide and protect, even outside of a relationship, I think is what saved mine.
Mm.
And that's why now I have the most beautiful relationship with my daughter. And I have a very, very good, respectful, wonderful relationship with her mum and her new bloke, which is even better. Yeah. So
Yeah. No, it's the definitely the key to life if you've broken up is to keep it amicable. And like I've got the same thing with my ex-wife.
Mm.
We divorced 5 years ago, 2021, January 21. So yeah, 5 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And people see photos of us online and think we're still together. We do a little family vacation once a year where the three of us go to the beach for a weekend. And
that's cool.
Do Christmases and birthdays all together as a family. And
awesome, man.
She did have a partner last year, and we did Christmas with him as well, but they broke up.
No, it's sad.
But yeah, super amicable. And like you said, it's all about Lulu and what she needs, and just making sure she's got a happy life, and she feels like she's got two parents that are working together to be her parents, not a parent and another parent. Like mum and dad.
Yeah, and that's important, hey. So, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on how important it is for a child to have not just have two present parents, but have full access to each of those parents whenever they want or need it.
Mm. Yeah,
because like there can be so much argy-bargy around what's better for, like, it's the old, relationships aren't 50-50. They're whatever they need to be to add up to 100, right? So, if she needs 80% more from dad that day, then she should be able to have that.
Yeah, for sure.
The portability between it.
Yeah.
The structure is important.
Yeah.
But access is vital.
Yeah, for sure. That happened the other day, actually. She had an interview assignment, and her mum called me because she was in tears, and she's like, look, she needs help. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Can you do it? So she got on the FaceTime with me, and we worked through it for a couple of hours and got it done and put a smile on her face.
How great's that, mate? And how great is it that she had the humility, your ex had the humility to go, I'm over my head. Let's call dad. I think that's the dream, mate. And I think blokes struggle with humility sometimes in that realm. I know I did. I can do it just as good as mum. That type of stuff. And then you quickly realise that mums hold a special place in a kid's life, as do dads in a different way.
Yeah.
And I learned pretty quick. So my daughter was with me. Her mum had some health challenges when she was little, not long after we separated. And so my daughter was with me a lot of the time over that period. And just seeing the heartbreak when her mum wasn't able to look after her and that little girl, and obviously facilitating as best I could at the time. But it's like both parents are so important for different reasons, but just as important, And I think my quest towards all this masculinity stuff has been like driven by the challenges I had with my son and his mum.
Oh, yeah.
She unfortunately didn't feel safe and supported enough close to me, so moved him away without telling me.
Yeah, right.
And And I had a fight on my hands then to find him again, or to get back with him again. You know, not find him. I knew where he was, but I didn't speak to him for over a couple of months, and that was the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life, ever. Like the PTSD work stuff and whatever from mental health challenges I had coming out of the army, like reintegrating, like that's tough, as you know, and like all the blokes you talk to know how tough that is. But there's nothing compared to having absolutely no say and no ability to swing the conversation to be with my son.
Mm. Yeah, it's frustrating as fuck. Headbutt in a wall. I did the same. Had the same thing with my oldest daughter.
Yeah,
she's 25 now. When she was a kid, her mum cut me off.
Unbelievable.
Went to family court, and I was poor. I was just a fucking in my early 20s. And the court-appointed lawyer that I had was like, "You've got no chance, mate. She's a mum. You don't have a hope in hell of getting custody."
Yeah. And how are you guys now? You and your daughter?
We're good now. Now she doesn't talk to her mum at all. She only speaks to me.
That's sad too. Right?
Yeah.
That's sad too. But, you know, I'm pleased that she came back to you, man. That's really, I'm really happy that happened for you. And I think that the world works out as it should eventually. And, you know, like I've had all of these challenges with women over the years. But it took for me to be a voice for masculinity to find an amazing one who came to me as a result of me speaking about masculinity, funnily enough.
An amazing woman.
Yeah. And it was such an ironic thing to have happened and out of the blue, like completely unexpected. She just came out, it wasn't that long ago, just came out and asked me about the stuff I'm putting in the world about the masculinity work. And because she has a son who unfortunately hasn't had a prison dad and has been largely raised just by her and her mum. And she wants some guidance. And then obviously things developed. But she told me that for so long she's been in her masculine energy, is how she described it, having to do everything. You know, single mum, and when I say single mum, I mean 100% of the time responsible for this boy.
Yeah.
That's a different proposition to co-parenting.
Yeah.
You know? And he's a great kid. She's done an amazing job.
How old is he?
11.
Oh, yeah.
He's 11 years old. And but he's now at the point in his life he's looking for a man. He's looking for male influence in his life. And she had this presence of mind to know that she can't give it to him. She's raised, like up to now, she's raised an incredible boy.
No uncles or grandparents or anything?
No. Her dad was around for a bit, but he moved across country. And apart from school teachers, who are also really important, sports coaches really important, and can be very influential. She said she's looking for a masculine influence for him, you know. But it's amazing that she could identify that, right? And then, so and she spoke to me about early on about how she just felt this burning desire. And had spoken to her friends about it, about how important it was to, she calls it, get back into her feminine energy. So I take that to mean, and I've asked questions around it to understand it, I take that to mean soften and not have to wear the burden of the world on her own. And I guess the thinking I've done around that is, men and women, we can survive on our own fine. You know, we can get through life fine by ourselves. We can't thrive without each other, or a partner, right? So gay couples provide the same thing to one another.
Hmm.
But companionship, and that's where we thrive if we can do it in a healthy way, where we've not got a jacked them, bloody a jacked up bloody nervous system all the time. We're sitting there looking for something to go wrong.
Yeah.
If we can settle out of that, we're in a good place. And a good place to do really well. And I think that's so true. We bring such unique and wonderful things to the table, men and women. And we're largely the same, but at the extremes we bring very different things, very different energies. And like you alluded to before, men are good at some stuff. Women are good at some stuff. Men are real bad at some stuff. Women are real bad at some stuff, largely, right? Generalising.
Mm.
But the things there women are really, really good at, generally, we're not so good at as men.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So when we come together, it's sort of like forming a whole thing, right?
Yeah. Two halves make a whole.
Yeah. And I've approached this relationship now consciously practicing those principles and tenets that I've thought about, written about. And it has been, because I hadn't done it before, right? And entering this relationship, I've not felt like this before. I've not felt that I want to just give to this. I want to give to this, not just with her, but the son, my children. I just want to give to it without expectation.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And mate, and when I tell you that the outcome of that has been life-changing, I'm not joking. And it's been such a short period of time. But the outcome of that has been trust, safety for both of us. I have no insecurities around it. She doesn't have any around me. Because both of us just want to give. Whereas before, and almost every relationship leading up to this point, I had been looking for what it can give me.
Yeah.
How good can it make me feel? Are you going to be able to provide this to my kids? Subconsciously. I never tried to be an asshole to take everything. But
What were you doing wrong in the last two big ones?
Lots. Nothing. I don't think anything the big ticket bad things that you could say is bad for relationships. That's a great question though. Philosophically, I would say I didn't honour what they needed. I didn't look for what they needed. I was probably too stubborn in that I felt I knew better. I probably tried to lead too much without being consultative. I think it's important for men to lead, but you've got to be worth being someone to follow.
Yeah, like any leader, right?
Yeah. So you've got to convince the partner in your life, man, woman, otherwise, that you are capable and sound enough in your decision making for them to go, I can hand this over to you, and I'm still going to be safe and looked after. And I don't think I did that well. In one case, I think, and this sounds like a terrible thing to say, but I was never fully in that.
Fully what?
In that relationship, I never gave myself over to her fully.
Yeah.
No. And that's on me. Yeah, it's not her fault.
Would you call that like as far as your inner feelings and honesty and stuff? Or
Yeah. And I think it was a self-worth thing for me. I felt like I probably just, again, I don't want this to sound awful or mean because I don't intend it that way. But I felt like this will do, and she's worth a lot. She's that's my son's mother I'm talking about, and she's a really good human. In isolation from the incident that happened with us, but I didn't do right by her because my heart was waiting for something else, I think. And I've got the most amazing little boy now, but I regret doing that to her. I regret not doing the hard thing.
being true to yourself and honest with her.
Yeah. And I tried to be. Like I had a really hard conversation with her about more kids and stuff. And that was a very difficult conversation for me to have. But there's something in like a people-pleasing thing in me at that point where I just wanted her to be okay. I didn't want to hurt her.
Yeah, the sacrifice of yourself.
So I'll suck it up. Like at that point, like I'd already resolved by that point to go, I'm never going to hurt anyone else again. I'll just suck it up and I'll deal with whatever hurt is on the end of that. And that was the worst recipe that I could have possibly, mate, now if there's advice out there for any people, not just blokes, if you ever have the inkling that you want to save everyone else's hurt by wearing it yourself, you'll put yourself in a hole pretty early, right? Pretty soon. So, like obviously I've had to reflect a lot because of how those relationships and the breakdown of them affected my life and the outcome of my life. But now I'm so grateful that I learned the lessons to be able to put me in a position now where I can give without expectation and see the beautiful things that happen from it.
How old are you?
41. And to think that the life I've lived to this point, all things going well, I've got that again to live.
Yeah.
That amount of time.
Yeah.
And now I can do it.
Perspective.
Yeah. But now I do it from a place of experience, and I do it from a place of being very intentional with how I do it and not flying by the seat of my pants anymore. Because
which is what we all do, most of us.
Of course, yeah. Because what other option you got?
It's a huge growth mindset, though, which is commendable. Some people just get stuck in, that's who I am.
Yeah. I'll tell you another thing that changed my life, dude, was getting sick. So I had my appendix burst start last year. Nearly died, got sepsis.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I come out of that and I thought, I was so, like, I felt like I was in hospital. I felt like I was dying. Hot, sweaty, got the sepsis infection. Called the nurse in. I'm like, something's wrong. She checked all my stuff. She's like, nah, you're all right. So, okay. I'd had surgery the day before. So I had a gangrenous appendix and peritonitis. And so she comes and check my stuff. I went, no, everything's as it should or has been. So, okay, all right then. Maybe I'm just feeling shit because I'm coming off the anesthetic or I don't know, whatever. So she walks out. I'm watching TV and I'm fading hard. I'm about to go down. And so I had to drain in. Like I was in a bad way. And then I had a nurse come in just doing rounds. And she looks at my stuff and she's like, this doesn't look right. I don't like this. Anyway, sure enough, I'm on a bad road. And doctor comes in, does all the right things, puts the right things into my body to help me out, and I came back, right? Within hours, I was feeling good again.
Yeah, right.
I guess it was just the right antibiotics or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Vegetable there.
Yeah. So from that, I've gone, and I don't know if that was because, like, I wasn't healthy at the time. I was overweight, wasn't training, you know, eating bad food, sedentary. And that was my get fucked moment.
Mm-hmm.
That was my moment of, nah, mate, you got this life you've just lived, you've got that amount of time to live, plus probably, if you look after yourself.
Sort it out.
And life's worth living now, man. Yeah, there were times in my life where it wasn't, but now it is. You got things to look after. You got people who love you. Sort yourself out. So went looking for the gym, went looking for the good food, and it's amazing how the things I got discharged from the army for, it caused me so much pain when I was that way, eating bad, not training. The improvement in that, my mental health, everything, off the back of a better diet and exercise, which has led me to be more confident, which has led me to be able to put more stuff in the world, which has led me to way better relationships. And now the ability to go back into public and engage with people again without having to try and prove myself. Giving without expectation again. Right.
Giving yourself, yeah.
Well, that's why I joined the army.
To prove something.
No, I think just to give, because I wanted to give.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the best way I knew how as a 20-year-old, was to go and, I'll put myself up. I'll put my hand up. And plus exciting and,
Shit guns and shit.
Exactly. Exactly. So I thought, why would I not want to do that? It's an excellent way to serve, and people look up to you. And so I've done that. And then I went away from that. And I started to live a life for me and me alone. What can I get out of it? Didn't sit well. I didn't know that. But now, I'm back. And in considering what's important, what we put into the world, it's giving. It's because if you're not giving, you're not serving something. It's a fucking point. Like self-pleasure is, like pleasure, Jordan Peterson talks about this. Right? Sipping margaritas on a beach is great. But it's not why we live.
No.
Yeah. We live so that the world around us and the people we're with can live better.
Yeah. That's a reward.
Yeah.
The margaritas on the beach. Do it for a day, you can do it for a week, you can do it for a month, do it for a year, do it for 5.
Yep.
You're going to get bored pretty quick.
Yeah. And
there's no fulfillment in it.
Well, it'll tank your mental health. Your mental health, because what are you achieving? Yeah. And again, it was lessons that I had to learn along the way that
he talks about training and nutrition and stuff, and obviously linking in with masculinity.
Yeah.
We both know that those things are vitally important.
Closely linked.
How would you link them in with masculinity?
Capability. So it's a great question, and it's a really important point too. Masculine men, in my opinion, are men that are capable, that have their shit under control enough to be able to only use it when it's absolutely needed. Right. So if you aren't strong enough to lift a car off someone, then you can be. You don't have to lift a car off someone every day. But one day you might have to. You're not going to have to protect your kids from predators every day. But when you need to, you're going to want the ability to be able to do it.
Mm.
If you're slovenly on the couch and another man has to look after your family, are you fulfilling your role as a man? I would argue no. And I'm not saying everyone's got to be jacked, right?
Or lift cars.
or be able to lift a car. But I am saying you need to be capable of protecting those around you. Because if we want the world to go back to valuing men as they did, because at the moment I don't think men are valued in our society. In fact, to the contrary, I think they're demonised in some ways because of the rhetoric around, and it's not unfounded rhetoric, around domestic violence and things like that.
Mm.
Right? That happens. And there's bad men in the world. There are. And unfortunately, the bad men get all the press.
Mm.
Unless you like that dude down at Bondi who went and wrestled the gun off that guy. What a fucking legend that dude is.
He's hated now because he went and fucking hung out with Trump.
Oh, did he? Did he? I didn't see that.
The lefties are off him now.
Yeah, right. Right, but like, set of brass nuts on that dude.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
And good for him. But unfortunately, all the bad dudes get all the press. Right.
Yeah, but like you said, that's the bad dudes are using violence, so they associate violence with strength and training and practicing violence, where it's quite the opposite.
Yep.
Those guys aren't trained in violence, because if they were, they would be more humble and know how to use it and
have
be
some
under
discipline.
control. Discipline, yeah.
Yep.
Discipline and humility are probably the two biggest things you get out of any martial arts gym.
Yep.
Because you know that there's millions of people that could beat the shit out of you, right? You experience it on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but having the capability and controlling it is far more valuable than not having it.
And there's so much more than just the capability piece. That there's confidence. You know,
confidence, self-assurance.
Yeah, and not just self-confidence. Your missus has confidence in you too, and your kids have confidence in you too.
Yeah.
You know, like you get strong, and like your kids idolize your strength.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fucking superhero.
Exactly. Show me your muscles, Dad. Right? I get that a lot from my boy. Right. So they're so closely linked. Like the ability to be strong and train and eat well shows them how to train and eat well.
Yeah, modelling.
Yeah, which is also an important thing. But then, like, if you truly want what's best for your kids, if you truly want them to live a good life, free of pain, disease, then it's the natural first step is to role model what those good, healthy behaviours look like. And I did not pay that any attention before I got sick. Like, I'll tell them what to do. Do as I say, not as I do. Right. But the impact it has had since, so I built a gym in the backyard, right? Bought some weights in, whatever. And like when the kids are home with me and it was just me, I would be, I couldn't go to the gym, so I'd work out at home. And all of a sudden I've got two little people that are stoked. My little boy's down there with his shirt off, mate, and he's lifting the 2 kilo dumbbells, right? And my daughter's down there in her like shorts and crop top, doing burpees. Like they just, and like I talked about before, spending time with me doing that, they'll choose that over anything. Like the time, the connection, right?
Yeah.
And I thought about that in the moment. I'm like, why haven't I been doing this? I feel way better. Look how much fun they're having. And these behaviours, them seeing me do this, they think it's normal.
Yeah.
And now, because it's normal, they carry it on into their teenage and adult life.
Yeah. Which is, part of your daily routine,
Yeah.
part of life.
And their life will be exponentially better
Mm.
because they train and eat well.
Yeah.
Like my young bloke eats chips and nuggets almost exclusively, so that's a challenge. but apart from that, he trains it off too, right? So no sauce either. He won't eat sauce, which is a saving grace. But
Well, not yet. My daughter was like that. She refused to eat tomato sauce, and now she has a little bit of chips with her tomato sauce.
yeah. That's often the way, though, isn't it? So, I just think, it's almost one of the first steps, I think, is to becoming a new man, let's say, is getting strong. And not, I just said the other day in a post I put on the socials that back to being a work in progress continually. And I've been rolling in courses to make me better I've got a speaking coach now, and I've got all of these things happening in my world because I've now noticed the importance of being useful and the importance of feeling useful and the importance of being better than I am tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that all came from the worst year of my life. So, and now I've got this saying, and I was just saying it to my partner the other day, that the best things that I've ever experienced in life are on the other side of hard.
Yeah.
And in the moment, in the hard, it sucks. It's like embrace the suck, like the Marines, Special Forces in the US talk about. Love the suck, whatever. It's kind of the same premise.
Yeah, it's valid for everything though, right? If you drive to somewhere with a view, you'll appreciate the view. But if you climb to somewhere with a view, it'll be the best fucking thing you've ever seen.
Yeah. And the the endorphins that come with the exercise of the climb, because it's hard.
Yeah.
Right. And it's exactly right. Like you go through a uni course to become a doctor. The reward at the end of it is being able to help people, getting good cash to do it. But you got to go through the hard. The benefits of being fit and healthy come at the other side of, that first day back in the gym after a couple of months off.
Oh, yeah, can't breathe.
You can't breathe. Your arms are hanging down by your sides. First leg session, you can't walk, you can't shit for a couple of days. But the consistency that comes with it, if you're consistent, and I've only learned this recently, bro. Like I took it for granted when I was young, playing heaps of footy. I played for the Australian Army team in rugby.
Right.
That took me over the world. But I took it for granted because a lot of that I didn't have to work too hard for. Right? And that sounds like an arrogant cunt thing to say, but I didn't have to work too hard for it all. But now, everything I need to work real hard for any sort of gains. But my relationship with my kids, I have to work real hard to be the best dad I can be, to be the best dad, And the relationship with my new partner, I've got to work really hard to make sure that she feels safe, secure, happy. And that's on me. The work's on me to give, right? But now I understand what I didn't realise before, that you truly do get back what you put in, and it would take a real narcissistic asshole to receive everything you're giving and not get it back. Right. So the more you give, the better you will feel, whether you get something back or you don't. If you do it for the knowledge that what you're doing is going to make the world a better place in some way, it just will.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And I think that's where where my life's steering now. That's where I want it to be.
Beautiful.
Mm.
So good. What about your army career? You said you wanted to go and change the world and contribute.
Yeah, well, at that point, East Timor, when I went to join, East Timor had been a thing for a couple of years.
Was it like
2005 I joined.
Right.
Yeah. So, and mate, I was one of those blokes. I was cadet when I was young. Don't tell anyone.
If I could whisper that.
Yeah. But my dad was also in when he was before I was born, and he spoke so highly. He loved it. He was an engineer. He was a combat engineer, and he loved it. And he used to speak about it all the time. We always observed Anzac Days when I was a kid. I had so much pride in it. I had so much respect for it. And I was fascinated with light horse. Always fascinated with light horse. I don't know why. Maybe it was because of all the horsemanship stuff I did with my grandparents when I was young. But yeah, it was always front of mind for me. It was kind of my trajectory, even when I took the apprenticeship. Before I went in, that I was going to do the apprenticeship, then go in. Yeah, I wasn't old enough to join when I took that apprenticeship on. So I finished that and then applied as soon as I got the certificate. I applied for the Army. Got offered avionics technician Air Force, electronics telecommunications tech Army, if that's a thing, like comms lining in the Army. Yeah, and Cav. Fuck it, obviously. Right, I'm going to go to Cav.
05, that was just top slipper height of.
Yeah, so that
Afghan was really kicking off.
Yeah, so I never went to Afghan. I went to OBGW2 in Iraq. Was my first deployment.
No.
That was 06, 07. So November 06 and then into 07. Supposed to Cav Regiment first. So straight out of school, went to 2 Cav in Darwin at the time. And went there, did OBG, come back from that. Went to be a loadie.
Went to be a loadie.
Yeah, so I applied to be a loadie, got in, went down there. Then I was on a training sort of in, like I was doing my type transition into, so I'd finished a basic loadie course. I was doing type transition into Black Hawk and dislocated my shoulder on an approach from a rugby injury, Army rugby injury. And dislocated my shoulder on this approach. And obviously that's not ideal. So they sidelined me, put me on the bench into holding platoon. I don't do holding platoon, mate. I said, send me back to Cav then. So they did. They sent me, and I had to pay my penance and then go to Pucker. They wouldn't send me back to a regiment. I had to go to school.
What for? Trainer?
No, posted as a digger. I posted back to the school, mate. That was my penance for leaving the Corps. I think whoever the career manager was like, fuck him, he's going to Pucker. But it actually turned out to be a really good experience down there for me.
What are you doing? It is.
Yeah, well, just looking after the cars, really. So I got the sports squadron down there that looks after all the vehicles. And, does the driving for RBC courses and whatever. Did that and then sort of got promoted in situ down there a couple of times. Ended up being an instructor before I left. Been by like dismounted instructor for Armour Corps. And then posted to 214. Then I had a bit of a sabbatical for just over a year and a bit. Back to 214.
You got out?
Yeah.
The grass wasn't greener?
No. Take me back. And they did, thankfully. Slotted me back in at rank, thank God.
Very nice.
And then went to Taji 1. And then come back. That couple of years was massive, man. Like, when we found out that we could be going, so I was down in Pucker for 3 months on a instructor gunnery course in 2014, end of 2014. Come back from that, had Christmas, come back to work. And it wasn't long after we got back to work that they started to spin Taji up. It was all hush-hush to start with, of course. And went out bush. No, did the lead up. Sorry, I'm backwards. Did the lead up training, which was quick. And then they sent us to AMAB. We were there for, I don't know, 3 weeks or something because they couldn't unfuck our visas to get in the country. So hung out there for a bit, went in, did that trip. Got back at Christmas, like 17th of December or something that year. So deployed in April, back in December. But we were extended like 3 times because they couldn't unfuck the visas for the next tour, for the next trip. So I said that the Iraqi government were obviously just dragging their heels or whatever. So then got home, had Christmas. Then I went straight on Sub 1 up in Darwin, Wonko in Darwin. And got back from that, was home like 6 days, and I was up at Shoalwater for a month. Back from that, and then we had to go to Adelaide on a boat. But it was that Shoalwater trip where I popped my shoulder in back in a lav turret, and that's where my discharge started.
Oh, yeah.
That's when the route out started. So I debated, because I got it back in and everything, but I debated whether I'd tell anyone, because I knew, mate, as soon as they check it out, I know they're cooked. I know they're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that as soon as I
Get your hand up.
as soon as I tell anyone, I'm on the road.
Yeah.
So I just tried to put it through as one of them IHNS Sentinel reports or whatever.
Yeah.
And just tried to sneak it under the radar. No. Go to the medics. I said, don't send me the medics. This is my OC at the time.
Never see me again.
He goes, Gus, you going to the medics? I said, boss, respectfully, if you send me there, literally, you'll never see me again. And he goes, don't be fucking dramatic, go. Right. So anyway, off I went, and sure enough, all the scans later, and then I got shits you can't, because we were meant to deploy down to Adelaide on a boat, or ship, for the Navy boys. And they wouldn't let me go on a boat because my shoulders are that cooked. They can't guarantee I won't drown if we go overboard.
No.
They'll pop out and whatever. And then there's the surgeons, and so they were away for 6 weeks plus a week off when they got back. So between them deploying, because it was like 3 days out from going on the boat, that this all come out. So in that time, I'd been made J5 or whatever it is, like getting out. The J4, where you're still at work but on your way out.
J51.
Yeah, whatever that is. Yeah. I'd been made that in that time frame. And my boss, the one who sent me to the medics, comes back and he goes, like when he got back to work after leave, and I'm there training still or whatever, calls me and he's like, what the fuck happened? I said, I told you. He goes, get the second opinion. I said, I've got a second opinion. It's the same opinion. You know, they offered me to stay in as a non-deployable clerk and go back to digger.
Go back to digger? Oh, because you call transfer.
I'm like, no fucking way.
Were you full track at the time?
At the time, yeah. So, I had one course to do to be a qualified sergeant. I was in sergeant's position at the time.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going back there. I'm not going to go be a fucking pogue and a lead digger pogue. I'm not going to do that to myself. And non-deployable as well. You know, like I think that would have been worse for my mental health.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, maybe I can just make the civilian world work for me. Maybe. And that was a hard decision, bro. Like I said, I was a lifer, mate. Like I experienced the outside world, didn't like it. I went back.
How long were you back for?
2014 to 2017. 3 years. And that was a kick to the nuts, man. Not being able
How
to.
long did you have to come to terms with it on J5? 6 months or something?
Happened in August. I was out in February.
Yeah.
And freaked out. Like I said before, that's where I went. Well, the only thing I can do is talk. My shoulders are cooked. I can't fucking do anything else. I could hide it in the army, but I can't hide it if I'm going to go and apply to be a cop or a fire eagle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, mate, that period of my life, and I had a pregnant missus, right? So, I was quietly freaking the fuck out, trying to hold it together for her, obviously. Like, I've got this solid plan. We bought a farm. I'm going to go live on the farm. I'll be a saddle maker.
Okay.
I'll work from home. I can look after the baby.
That remnants from your childhood growing up on the farm?
Yeah. And just an interest of mine as a kid. So I went and did a course with a saddle maker in Brisbane and learned how to do it. And then sort of did it for a while. But unless you've already got a name established or have done an apprenticeship underneath someone with a name, that's one of the hardest industries I've ever seen how to crack, man.
Really?
Yeah. Because if someone's spending $5,000 on a saddle.
They want a reputable one.
Yeah. They want to know it's built well. And and the only way to crack that industry is word of mouth.
Mm.
So, that did okay for a while. It was mostly just repairing knife sheaths and stuff, but that was cool. And I was doing celebrant work on the side as well, and
What drew the interest to the celebrant?
I was just freaking out because I didn't know what else I was going to do. Frankly, I thought
pick a job off the list.
Yeah, that'll do. Well, they had. If they still got it, but back then they had like $5,000 you could spend on a course.
Yeah, they're still.
If you get, So
you didn't MC a wedding or something and spark your interest, or
no, it was just random. Yeah, I know. Everyone asked me that, like, how the fuck did you looking at me, like, how did you get to be a celebrant? I'm like, well, funny story, don't know. It just kind of happened. But I was like, I'm happy it did. Like, it's a cool gig, and sort of presented a lot of opportunities along the way too, just sneakily ones, like speaking gigs and people see me at a wedding and book me for something else,
MC sort of stuff.
Yeah.
When you said you do keynote speaking, what's that about?
So now it's sort of leaning into the masculinity, men need boys, men are made, not born type of messaging. And talking to people about not demonising masculinity. Let's not talk about it as toxic. Like, masculine traits aren't toxic. Tyrannical traits are toxic. And men and women both have those.
Yeah.
And men aren't defined by, the term toxic masculinity was coined by men. Did you know that? And it was coined by men back in the 80s who were advocating for women.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah. Back in the 80s. Oh, 80s or 90s. But, yeah, it was a while ago.
Where do you do all your research for this sort of stuff?
Mate, I read a lot. I read, obviously there's the Google searching, right? Wikipedia page type stuff. But then there's, I've read so much now. Like, there's a guy called Steve Galloway. You heard of him? So he's a professor over in the States, and he's a finance professor. But he's done so much work recently. Him and a guy called Anthony Scaramucci, who's a bit of a big dog in New York. But they did a series called The Lost Boys, and talking about exactly what I'm talking about, right? But in an American context, a bit different. Talking about how, porn is rotting the brains of these incel boys. We get down to involuntary celibate boys who just hate women because they get rejected by them all the time. And how boys are being demonised in media, or men are being demonised in media, which just by extension goes down to boys. So he's just recently written a book called Notes on Being a Man. And he has ideas around the worst thing that's ever happened to society is people stop getting out and piss, right, and making bad decisions on the piss to learn from, or that might just go well. You know, so you might have a random hookup in a bar at 19 years old, 21 if you're in America.
Love you.
And there she is, right? So, and they're the sort of ideas he's putting into the world, and I resonated with him. You know, so I read a lot of his stuff, listen to a lot of his stuff. I consume podcasts a lot. Like Diary of a CEO is one of my favourite resources for everything, mate. He's the people he talks to, and he has this way about him as a podcast host, Steve Bartlett. He's got such a way about him of eliciting really valuable information from people. Yeah, he asks great questions, you know, and like for a young guy, I admire him as a young man, you know. Yeah. And the storyteller, or the not so much a storyteller as the ability to elicit a story from someone else. Yeah, he's very talented. So I really enjoy his stuff. Like everything's an upsell for him, for his companies and whatever. But if you can dodge that and look around, he's good. He's and the guests he gets on are high quality people. Yeah, that have a lot of information. So that's where that's where most of it comes from. But reading, I've always read. I took a bit of a break from reading when I was heavy into like doing army stuff. I don't know. I just fell off the reading wagon, let's say. But since I've started writing, reading has been something that's had to come back into my life. Yeah, right. You know, to be and for the research, right? So, and not only that, but you need credibility when you're going to talk about this stuff. You need stats to back you, because people will try and shoot you down. 100%. I put one of my articles out into the world only 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and then boosted it on the socials. Yeah, because I wanted to push it more out just to get some mate, the amount of blokes that got on there and were like, men don't need change. You know, masculinity, it doesn't need change. It's always been there. You know, what about women? Why don't women need to change? You're missing the point, bro. Did you even read the article? You know, the article was on, men looking at a different way. Basically, what we talked about before about the tenets of masculinity or the principles behind it, rather than the actions. And they just get so offended by the prospect or the proposition that they can be better. You know? Yeah. I'm perfect just the way I am. And that mindset for a man, mate, you're going to completely fall behind. But then you get the other end of the spectrum. There's another man as well, jumped on there and started smashing those blokes for being dinosaurs, right? But he was sort of way the other way in that, you know, men are the problem. And where's the middle-minded people here that can have they can have talk and have discourse around this stuff? Because I haven't got all the answers, and what I'm putting into the world is not a definitive guide on being a man. That's what I'm trying to figure out, right? And I can only do that if I pose an idea, somebody challenges my idea or agrees with it. and then tells me why.
Mm.
And we can-
That's how university works, right?
right. Well, it's supposed to.
Or it used to, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure it does anymore, but it's supposed to.
Yeah. Discussions and arguments,
Yeah.
intellectual arguments.
Yeah. Or, like, I don't think I couldn't be a philosopher just for the criticism that comes with it. Like, I nearly deleted the page because it just kept going, and it was vicious, man. Like, they started insulting each other, right? Which is in direct contravention to what I want to achieve. Like I said in there, my whole thing is I feel like there's been such a wedge driven between men and women. And women are women have this perception now of men that we're either dumb, useless, or in the way. And like you look at the social media chat around women that talk about dating and how hopeless men are on dates. And maybe they are. But we can fix it. So instead of beating men down for it, let's find a way to pump them back up for it. Right?
Some constructive criticism.
Well,
constructive feedback.
Yeah. In the right places. Right? So, and that's what this, like the stuff I put out is aimed at not at boys themselves, but the blokes who raise boys or have a hand in raising boys. Because like if I can pass on, if you've got you got a nephew, I can say to you, teach him to take responsibility for his mum. Right? First thing, that's one thing. Straight away, you can go back to him and go, mate, your mum would love it if you did the dishes tonight without being asked. Just go do that. Take responsibilities. Tell her to go put her feet up. She's had a big day. Right? Imagine the impact that will have on her and then back to him. Imagine how gracious or appreciative she's going to be because that boy took some responsibility for her. Yeah?
Yeah.
And if we can start teaching men that raise boys that now we need to guide boys back to a life of service and not a life where they take or they look to what the world can give them. Imagine the turnaround we could see. Where women start feeling safe in our presence again. If something goes wrong, they go looking for men again. Yeah, men around them. Because at the moment, if something goes wrong, they run a mile in the other direction of men. Because we're all unsafe until proven otherwise. Imagine if men were inherently safe again. That's a world that I would love to drive towards.
Yeah.
Because that's what it should be. Because like our superpower, I was explaining this to my partner's son the other day. Men and women both have superpowers. Women are incredible at being able to multitask and care and nurture. Right? They have the most capacity to love women. They're incredible at it. Men, our superpower is our physicality and the ability to channel our hormones to protect. So be capable, get it under control, but don't use it to impose your will on anybody else. Make sense? So understand that your superpower is your ability to protect because you're strong and you're bigger. Never use it to impose your will.
Yeah. Don't abuse your strength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because straight away you become a tyrant. You do that. Because tyrants force other people to do things because that's what they want. don't be a tyrant, right? Be the white knight that stands between the tyrant and those who can't protect themselves, or who are less able to protect themselves than you are. Yeah. Like, because men have been the sacrifice forever. You know, we've been the ones that go to war, and we've always been the ones to be seen to protect our family and our communities. It's because biologically we're more expendable. So you can, with a handful of blokes, you can populate a big community. If you got 100 women and 5 blokes, community can still thrive. It doesn't work the other way because women take time to have babies, etc., right?
Yeah.
So we've always been the ones, and unfortunately, and this may trigger some people, what I'm about to say, but unfortunately, being a man means sacrifice. And I think that's just, we need to come to terms with that. You need to find where your sacrifices are worth making, and serve that.
It's an example of sacrifice. Women and children. Women and children first.
100%.
Men go down with the ship.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Put them on the lifeboats. I'll wait here. Because maybe, because I'm a bit stronger, maybe because I'm a bit taller, I can swim away. Maybe. But you can't. You won't be able to. You won't make it. 100% chance you won't make it. But there might be a 10% chance I will.
What's a real world example?
Bondi shooting. Go hide behind that. I'm going to go wrestle that gun away from that guy.
No.
Because if you go try and wrestle that gun away from that guy, he's going to overpower you. But he might not overpower me. That's a big one. Right? But it's like that amazing policewoman inspector that who was running around Bondi stabbing people. Remember that?
Yeah.
She ran out. She was able to protect the community because she had a gun. She had more reach. Right? If she tried to wrestle that dude, like being in the state of mind he was in, it might have been a very different outcome. Right? She's incredible for what she did. She is a hero. She got presented all the medal and amazing work. But and thank God she did what she did. And that had nothing to do with her being a woman or a man. It was just the bigger dog won the fight there. And the bigger dog just had a good tool, And but that's where we need to get back to, where I might be able to win, but I know you won't. And that's better odds. That's better odds for the world. That's better odds for our family. It's better odds for the community. Because if I lose 3 kids because, and even if it's, we talk about boys being sacrifices or whatever, and I mean, that's an extreme example. But if I lose 3 boys, that might be 3 families that don't get protected later. If I lose 3 girls, that's the population stopping in that part of the world, right? And that's why when I talk about sacrifice, I'm going to sacrifice some time now to get strong. I'm going to sacrifice some energy now to get smarter. I'm going to sacrifice some money now so that we have more later. That's what I'm talking about. looking after the people around you, because that's our job.
Yeah.
Our job is not to take. Our job is to give, and we feel way better when we give than when we take.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah, you feel like a piece of shit when all you do is take.
of course you do. If you're a good man,
Yeah,
right? But if you're not a good man, you don't give a fuck,
yeah.
right? If you're a Tate and you've got 8 Lamborghinis and fucking 3 Maseratis and some mansion in Romania or whatever the dude does, right? And you want to brag about it to the world because you have all of this. It looks attractive, right? Don't have to worry about anything ever. Imagine a world where you didn't have to worry about anything ever, right? Where would your head go? And do you think you'd use that force for good? Or do you think you'd just blow it all on hookers and coke?
Yeah.
Right?
And corrupt the mind.
Yeah. Because the more dopamine you have, the more you want, right? So...
Look at P. Diddy.
Exactly, mate. Right? And look what happened to his life. There's givers and takers in the world. He was a taker. And he took at the expense of so many others.
Yeah.
You know. And the worst people you've ever heard of in the world ever have been taking at the expense of others. Hitler. You know, Stalin. You know, they live in opulence. You know, while they're gassing people or seeing their world in poverty.
Yeah, I guess it goes back all the way to the early times with kings and stuff, with the ones that make sure that their population is fed and looked after and thrive, versus the ones that just gimme.
Mm-hmm. Feed me.
And the rest of the population starves and revolts and gets overthrown.
Yep. Exactly. And that's like the antithesis of what good and healthy masculinity looks like. That's not it. Like living in opulence is not a masculine trait.
Yeah.
Living in excess is not masculine. Because who are you looking after? You, number one. Right? But looking after yourself is only important or most important when it's in the service of someone else. In my opinion.
I find that a pretty common thread amongst successful and wealthy people, like in the books you read about, making money and setting yourself up for success. Giving is always one of the categories.
Philanthropy, eh? Yeah. A lot of people with lots of money do that. Dave Ramsey, have you heard of him? He's another US finance guy.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He teaches people all about budgeting and stuff. Very godly man. And he talks about that all the time.
Set up all your bank accounts and have one for your giving.
Yeah. Like
What's that? Even that local one, what's his name? Barefoot Investor.
Yeah.
Same.
Scott Pape.
Papers?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, like, is that then the condition that drives them? Is that like a motivator? They want to give so bad that they have to make themselves...
They have to be successful.
Yeah. And if that's the case, doesn't that make them one of the best people on the planet, right? So, like... And I say to my new partner now, she wants to give back too, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, you give so much, people want to give back to you. And I tell her, like, living these masculine traits that I try to live, I need her softness. That's what I need. Like, as a man, I don't need you to dote on me. You live the same life I do now. Like, you live the going to work every day. And dudes, sorry, we got to share the load at the house now. Right? They do the same stuff we do, man.
Yeah.
So we've got to, you know, if everyone wants to have a nice clean house, then that's half your responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Or it might be more, depending on who does what, or who does what work or whatever.
Yeah, it's not a sex determined thing.
No, and it can't be, right? And I would challenge anybody like that wants to sit there and tell me that I'm not manly or whatever for saying that. Like, you know, like I would challenge anybody to call me not a masculine man. Right? It was with the background I had. Played pretty high level rugby. You know, went to war. like I've done some manly shit, right? But and this isn't coming from a place of arrogance. It's just coming from a place of like I cried when my daughter got needles in her legs, and I'll proudly wear that. Right? Like what we're basing masculinity off is not like that stoicism stuff, or you know, when my son broke his arm, my partner was there, and she said to me the next day she found it way more attractive because I was so calm and just knew what to do. Let everyone else freak out, but we're going to look after this.
Yeah,
it makes them feel safe, eh?
Yeah, well, that was kind of the thing back in the day was you always looked to Dad to be the calm, level-headed one.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like we were saying, it swings too far one way or the other. Back then it was, but Dad also never shows emotions. And
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, we operate in a world of extremes sometimes. Yeah.
Very much so.
But now we can, so like women are asking for us to share the load of housework.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is
totally,
we need to do that.
Yeah.
And men like us that have been single a long time, we're good at that anyway.
Yeah, of course.
If you live in any sort of, like if you're not, swimming through pizza boxes to go take a piss or something, right? But also, we can also share that emotional load too, right? So, like women need to be able to accept that if you want us to share all of our stuff, then we will. And when we do, we need to be safe to be able to do that too. Well, we made a joke about it before, but like if you get the ick because you see a man get emotional after you've asked him to be emotional, you're an asshole. You're a bitch.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that's a reality for a lot of women. They don't know how to handle that. And that's not their fault. It's just that as we're conditioned not to do it, they're conditioned not to be able to not to see it, right? And it's so hard to talk about this from a place of wanting to bring men and women back together when I have to talk about the differences that separate us, And I'm trying to find that balance too, where you can say something and as well-intentioned as it is, you can upset somebody. Yeah.
Oh, 100%, especially in this day and age with all the social media and biases and everyone's feeding each other to the extremes where you can't hear it, right? Because your bias has blocked it from making any sense to you other than anger.
Mm-hmm. And how sad's that? Right?
Yeah, you can't hear a differing opinion from anyone because it'll just
makes them evil. Exactly. Agree with me or die. Yeah, and like I said, I'm not out here trying to like. People think I'm bashing men up by telling them we can do better, suggesting we can be better, but we can always be better.
Yeah, we can always be better.
And no matter how good a bloke you are, and you might be in your environment, you might be exactly what you need to be. Your missus might love that you don't show emotions because she doesn't have to deal with it. Or you might live in a really rough neighbourhood where fighting is absolutely the top list of, priorities around there, because otherwise your family is in real danger. Let's say. In different parts of the world, that's actual reality. So in your context, you might be exactly what you need to be. But that's the point. Masculinity is being what you need to be in your context. It's not about... So a man that lives in downtown Johannesburg, in a slum, needs to be a different man than somebody who lives in New Farm. Right? So it's understanding the principles behind masculinity and not the behaviours that are associated with it. Because that dude needs to be stoic as fuck. He needs to be able to look after himself and the people around him. He needs to be able to yield weapons. He needs to be able to do all of that. It's not bad for a man in our context to be able to do all that stuff. Be capable of it. But the extra bit he needs in our context is restraint and decision making. Calm, level-headedness. That's the difference.
Yeah. And a warrior.
Yeah.
Better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a
Perfect analogy. The perfect analogy. Yeah. I actually love that saying. I think it's... who said that? Do you know who said that?
No idea.
I love that.
See it on like the samurai posters and stuff.
Yeah.
Samurai walking
Well,
through
it might just be ancient samurai dudes that come up with that. But I love that. I think that's fabulous. And look at the any military, but in particular special forces. Like, those motherfuckers need to be warriors, man. And they need to be able to be sneaky and violent. They need to have that in them and trained to do it. But the amount of restraint and control that they need to have as well. So it needs to be trained in parallel. Like you were talking about with the martial arts gyms. Same thing. Be as capable as you can to yield all of that to the world if you need to. But equally, you need to be able to control your shit. But the next level again is making sure that the people around you know that you're going to be able to contain it. Because they feel safe then. And feeling safe, I think, in modern dating and relationships context, feeling safe, that word safe, is paramount. And that takes a whole bunch of different forms. Physical safety is one thing, but safety to be able to talk about what they're feeling. And I was so fucking bad at that for ages. I'm still probably not great at it, but providing a safe environment by listening, not having an opinion, and not trying to fix it. We get told that all the time, eh? I just want to be heard, don't try and fix it.
But I have an easy solution.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And for logical thinking, no, not that women are illogical, but like men think in very linear terms. That's a problem. That's a solution. I'll enact it. Yeah. Whereas it's not that simple.
You seen that video with the couple on the couch and the chick's got like a screwdriver through a temple, the blood dripping down.
No.
And he's like, you just pull that thing out. She's like, I don't want you to tell me what to do. I just want you to listen.
I don't want you to fix it. Oh, man. Yeah, but what another perfect metaphor for it. But like it's, and both of us are well intentioned in it. But because we're coming at it from two different angles, and a lot of times men are expected to be, like especially in modern dating, men are expected to fill the role of a girlfriend. Like one of your missus's girlfriends.
Oh, yeah.
You're expected to fill the same role and be able to listen the same way and cheerlead the same way. And
especially in this day and age, a lot of people, the friendship groups have reduced, right? So you become the be all and end all, the confidant, the best friend, the partner. Yeah.
But and then I guess the problem then becomes: do we try and kick against that and go, no, we should change how women feel about men and men feel about women and what they are to one another, or do we go, okay, well, we need to embrace it on your role? Because, and what's the right answer? Who fucking knows? Right?
Yeah.
Who fucking knows? But there is a right
We have to
answer.
listen to those 3-hour stories that could have been wrapped up in 3 minutes.
Exactly. But maybe we need to change the way we think about how we serve in that. Right. And is our service literally sitting there and being engaged in what she's saying?
Or is it organising a night out for her and her girlfriends while you look after the kids?
What is it? How am I going to serve her best? And what is going to be able to allow her to work through this the best? And again, that mindset shift has changed my life. Like how can I serve you better? And not just a romantic partner, everybody.
I know anecdotally with the violence stuff, learning violence, before I did martial arts, I was like, because of the fear and insecurity and stuff, not knowing how to fight it at all, which I find is super common with, like, you see videos of it all the time, people fucking swinging windmill fucking arms at each other all the time. But when you don't know how to fight, the insecurity you have, where you overcompensate with aggression and picking fights and starting fights.
Bravado,
yeah. Whereas once you've learned how to fight and you learn how to control it, then that just it's not even a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Literally, I walked into a Muay Thai gym 16 years ago, and before that I had countless street fights. Since that day 16 years ago, I've never had a fight again.
Yeah, wild, hey? And what do you think that is?
Just like I was saying, the insecurity and the fear and the overcompensating with aggression. I would just lash out and fucking look at that.
Trying to prove yourself.
Yeah, trying to prove yourself. Yeah. Trying to prove that I was something that I wasn't by being that guy. But yeah, then once you prove yourself in the gym or get humbled in the gym, then that just goes out the window. And people look at you and you, hi.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point, because I think it kind of speaks to how you turn up in relationships too. So if you feel good about yourself, you feel confident, then you're not gonna be shaken or rattled by another man talking to your partner, or you're gonna be rattled by her going out with her girlfriends and looking hot. You know what I mean?
Or saying something to you that you don't like and you overreacting to it.
Sure.
Because you're insecure about it.
Sure. So, like, if we turn up again with that mindset of, I feel good, but how do you get to that point? You train.
Yeah, eat well.
You be disciplined. You give more than you take. Yeah, like that's all of those things build your confidence, and then people start complimenting you because you look good. You're oh geez, you're eating well. Oh, I could never do that. Oh, wow, I'm really impressed because you, I don't know, went on that hike up that mountain that is massive. Yeah, you did base camp. Wow.
Yeah.
The confidence comes up. Then all of a sudden you find yourself feeling good about giving back into the world, which means people see that and they resonate off it. Like, it's just a vicious loop. But as soon as you start getting fat, or you start being unhealthy, people stop engaging with you that way.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden your mental health starts to tank. Your self-esteem goes through the floor.
Yeah, especially if you had it and it gets taken away.
Yeah. So, and without reason, with no other reason than you can't be fucked. That's different. That's different again. Right?
Yeah.
You've got a broken leg or something different. Right? But like, to build confidence and then be able to turn up to the world with that confidence. And women say all the time they're attracted to confidence.
Yeah.
Not cockiness, confidence. Different.
What about the bad boy thing? What do you think that is?
Fucked if I know. Like, that's one of the most frustrating parts of anything when you think about this. But it's a thing. But I think it comes back to the capability piece a little bit. So I think it comes back to if, like in our caveman brain, if shit goes to trumps, at least I'm going to be alive. Like, he might be out in the piss with his mates all the time or whatever, but if someone tries to hurt me, he'll be able to take him out. I think maybe that. And it's a caveman response. It's not a considered thing with ladies or women. I think. I think it's just
attraction to the alpha. That's
a
protector.
Yeah. That's what I think it is. But they all whinge about it. They fucking hate it, right? But imagine if you could be that capable and a good bloke, you know. And as young men, we're not that. We're one or the other. We're soft and harmless. You don't want to be harmless.
No.
You know, you want to be capable, but you don't want to be a bad boy.
Yeah.
Like if long-term stable relationships is your goal, you don't want to be a bad boy. Because eventually you'll be labelled narcissist or fucking whatever. Right?
Yeah.
But if you can, and this is what I would teach young men if I had access to be able to teach them. I would lean in with all the stuff we talked about with service first, responsibility and service, then followed up by the capability piece. Right, and capabilities, it's a word that covers so much, but it's, you know, be capable of violence if you need to commit it. But in the way you spoke of with martial arts and discipline. So discipline's just as, and self-control is just as important as the capability. Yeah, they run in tandem. Light a fire, pitch a tent, cook a meal, you know. And we need to be able to, and men, far more importantly than women, men need to be able to take care of and look after themselves before you can be considered to be an acceptable partner later.
Yeah, for sure.
You need to be able to keep a clean house. Cook a meal. Go after yourself physically. You need to be able to do that. Another thing I would teach them straight away is no one gives a fuck until you've done it. No one gives a fuck about the journey you're on, dude. They will give a fuck when you're done. Or when you've done the hard thing. You know, while you're doing the hard thing, people will sympathise with you. You don't want sympathy. You want admiration. You know, if you're getting sympathy, you've got more work to do.
Yeah. I always found the competitiveness and need for accolades and admiration and stuff a bad trait until I did some values a couple of years ago, and they came up sort of towards the top of my list, and I related it to fucking abandonment as a child and whatever else, and getting recognition and adoration was important to me because I never had it. But do you think it's that relates, like it's just a trait of, or a possible trait and value of a man is just that, you know, the glory of a win or the admiration from achieving something?
People talk all the time about like little wins and celebrating them yourself, but you're still celebrating them. There's nothing wrong with being proud of what you've done. And I think there was research done that they wanted to understand what it was that a woman could say to a man that would have the same impact on them as when a man says, I love you to a woman, right? That's a big deal for a man to say, I love you to a woman.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So maybe it's not just a nice to have. Maybe it's absolutely necessary that men are appreciated for the role they play and the sacrifice they make in the world. Caveat there is they have to make the fucking sacrifice and not just expect the thank yous for no reason, right? And maybe that's what makes a man, is that he's willing to make the sacrifices but needs to thank you after it.
Yeah.
And what I was saying before about when I say to my partner, I don't need anything from you other than your softness and just love me. And I think maybe that's it. I don't need you to do anything for me. But what makes me adore you is when you soften into me and you appreciate me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something cool to think about, though. You know, and so maybe not accolades as much as appreciation to answer the question.
Yeah, I remember with my I won't mention which one. Let's just say an ex.
Yep.
That she would, do the washing and groceries and do all this sort of stuff, and I would say that because she would do all of that as the five
love languages.
Love languages,
yep.
Yeah. So hers was obviously acts of service,
Mm.
but mine is physical touch and words of affirmation. So I was like, I don't need you to do anything. I don't want you to do anything even. All I need from you is to feel loved, but you don't give me any affection. So doing these things for you for me, just annoys me because I could do it myself. So you doing it is not a big deal in my eyes.
Yeah.
All I want is your love. I'm happy to do all that stuff. That literally means nothing to me to throw a load of washing on.
Yeah. And do you think that by doing that, it was got a bit of a kick in sand in her face for then coming at you and going, this is how I'm showing you love by doing things for you. And you're telling her that you don't want it.
That's not how I feel. Yeah, for sure. It took us some time to work through what was going on.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Because that creates conflict straight away, doesn't it? Like when you come along and you really, because I've run into that 100 times, bro. When I sit there and I'm like, but everything I'm doing is for you, and I'm doing it but it's not what they need, you know? Yeah, and I think we've run into trouble here and just knowing that me saying I love you to my partner and her saying thank you to me when I've done something for her, just knowing that is powerful. Yeah. So if I ever see that she's feeling gross, I just tell her I love her, and that'll have an impact on her brain. And if she's ever seeing that I feel shit, she can come to me and say, thank you for moving the car out of the way for me before. Whatever, right? Whatever. If I'd done anything that day, she can just thank me for it, and it'll change my brain chemistry.
So it's all comms, right? Communicating.
It's all comms.
What you need.
Yeah. And again, not perfect, right? I'm not perfect at it, but I understand enough now that I can start putting it into practice. And it was only till very recently that I was able to do that.
Most successful relationships that I know of is just 100% open communication. They will sit down without any fear of judgment and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. What's been going on with me for the last week or whatever, and this is how I feel you've been acting towards me, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But they openly communicate without the fear of the other person yelling and screaming and blaming them. And it's just a plan for success.
There also needs to be a undertone of absolute knowledge that they're not going to walk out of the fucking room and never see you again as well. Right. There needs to be an element of security there that I think is rare now because it like
so many options
and disposable. Right? So there needs to, I think, to have that level of openness and fragility. You have to absolutely know that what I say here is not going to cause you to see me differently.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. If you don't like it, I'll just go find someone else.
Yeah, exactly. And how does that make you feel? Like if you hear that inside a relationship, it's over.
Yeah.
You know,
check it out.
Yeah. Like if you hear that, I'll find someone who does appreciate me then. Well, yeah, we're done. We're cooked.
Yeah.
Right. And you won't want to come to terms with that straight away. Oh, mate, I've been in exactly that position more than once. Right. Well, I've been on the journey trying to figure all this out. But like where it's landed me is it's never their fault. You know? Like it's I think one of the worst sayings in the world is happy wife, happy life.
No, it's fucking horrible.
Yeah. Because it essentially says they can, I talk they, us, you know, they and us, and I don't mean to do that. It's just, but them, yeah. But when you say happy wife, happy life, it discounts all of your happiness.
Yeah, you're sacrificing yourself for whatever they want.
Yeah.
You're biting your tongue, you're not being true to yourself or who you are in order to make sure that you don't fucking rock the boat, step on their toes.
Sure. But if you flip it then and go, service is where I come from here. And that service provides me security, comfort, happiness. But in turn, creates a happy environment for everybody because she feels safe and supported and happy. You're not being a simp, you're being a man. And you no longer, it's not happy wife, happy life. It's happy family, right? Because your happiness comes from the give. And her happiness comes from feeling safe, supported, and equal. Equally important, and it's okay for us to be equally important but different. It's okay for a man to say that I will sacrifice for my happiness because it brings me joy. And it's okay for her to be soft around him because she feels safe. And why we've gone to the extreme of now we just all need to look after it ourselves first and foremost, I will never understand. I don't understand why that's desirable. And it's only desirable in an environment where people want to fuck each other over, you know?
Yeah. I don't think it's like I was saying right at the start of the podcast about it's the quiet majority. I think the quiet majority still is the rational thinkers that are on the same wavelength. I think the loud minority are the ones that are preaching all the hateful rhetoric that's riling people up.
And they're noisy buggers too, eh?
Yeah, they do know how to rally troops.
They do. They do indeed. And like you just look at all the like if something happens in some obscure country in Eastern Europe somewhere, there's going to be a protest somewhere about it.
Oh no, straight away.
And you know, there's hundreds there. Like, where the fuck did you find each other? Right? Like, how did this happen? Right. But no, the loud minorities.
Yeah. Anything you want to bring up before we wrap up?
Oh, mate, I think it's been a really good yarn. You know, I really appreciate the platform you're given for people to come and and have a chat and sort of solve some problems in the world. And some of the stories,
one interview at a time.
Yeah, exactly. And like some of the stories that you share on here, man, like they're powerful stories.
Yeah, cheers.
You know, and you're doing some good work. You went along, like, I don't know if it's a condition of veterans and that like seeking purpose after service thing, but like you and guys like Percy and the Two Worlds Collide. Yeah, like that. All of that is seeking a better world. And I think that sits really well with why you're a veteran in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's commendable too.
Yeah. Draw to service.
Yeah.
In whatever way, shape or form you can find it.
Exactly. So thanks for doing that for the world, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet. No, like you're saying, the serving and giving to others is what brings me joy myself. So
great.
Never work a day in your life.
Happy with that. Good for you.
Happy with. Yeah, cheers, bro. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right, thank you. Thanks, guys.